Hey YouTube, this is Organized Preparedness coming at you with a new video. This one's on, it's going to be a review of my Becker BK-7. The steel is 1095 Crovan steel. The blade edge is 20 degrees, it's 7 inches overall, hence the name BK-7, BK short for Becker. Its overall length is 12 and 7/8 inches, and it weighs about 16 ounces together, and that's store-bought, and that's just the knife, doesn't include the sheath. It is highly modifiable, and I've made many modifications to it, which I'll go into greater depth in the next few minutes. But I gotta give a shout out to Prepared Mind 101. He influenced me in making this purchasing decision, and I've enjoyed the knife. So I guess getting into the philosophy of use, I purchased this specific knife because it's very stout. Not exactly sure of the specs on how thick this blade is, but it's fairly thick. I don't know how to estimate that, but it's fairly thick and very robust, which makes it a great batoning knife. So something like this, something with a 3-inch diameter or something, this is just great. It can handle that really easily, and with your batoning stick I could split this right down, and it's served me well for the last 5 or so years. And I've batoned a lot with it, made a lot of kindling, and it's great. I made a lot of modifications to it, about 5 or 6 now. But I guess going back to philosophy of use, I want it for batoning, but it's kind of fills that role between an axe and a machete to some degree. And I think if I had to pick one tool between my axe, machete, and small blade, I would probably choose this one. It's a pretty all-round tool. It's not the best at any one thing, but it's pretty good at all round. So that's kind of its niche. I guess getting into my first modification, I'll point out my lanyard here. I did a Cobra Stitch. That's what this stitching is called, with 550 paracord, and I made it so that I have a loop here, and I'll wrap it around here, and so I'll have a little bit of extra leeway at the bottom. So because I can have my hand here, I have even more chopping power, because there's a lot of metal in that blade. It's got some weight, so it can make mincemeat out of chopping this. Now my blade isn't as sharp as it used to be. I'm going to try to ameliorate that soon, but it can chop really quick, really fast, so it's a great chopper and a great batoner. Going back to a few other modifications I've made, I put micarta handles on it. Makes it a little bit more grippier. They come standard with just a black plastic handle, and I eventually got some micarta handles. They're essentially like compressed cardboard or something, or maybe compressed cotton jean kind of material, very compact, and I like them. They're kind of pricey though. They'll run you about $40. The knife I paid about $65 for it, originally, about 5 years ago, as I said, but they're running about 85 now on various internet sources. I guess since I'm into talking about all the costs that go into it, I might as well mention this is a Valhalla custom knife product. It's a sheath for my Becker BK-7, and it's got Blade Tech locking mechanisms for, I guess they call them tech locks, but this threads in through your molly of your pack, and this is the company Valhalla Custom Knives. I like the design. It's a good system. It ran me about 57 bucks. So it's pricey as well, but it's sleek. It's not bulky. They make a few at Valhalla and other companies where I guess there's grommets all around, and I just felt like that would add bulk and weight. So I just got this. Try to make it as simple as possible, and they got a little push tab here, so it just goes in there. When I go to draw the knife, I just push it out. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but that's how that is. I guess I made another modification. I ground the top edge of this blade and gave it a nice 90-degree angle for ferro rods. So I got a number of ferro rods. Currently, I've got one of Dave Canterbury's like 6-inch length by 1/2 inch diameter ferro rods. It's great. It's robust. This will last me forever. Kind of like I expect this knife to, because they kind of go together. In fact, I was thinking maybe I'd get a Kydex little holster for it and just slip it in here. There's 2 knobs here. Get some Chicago screws or something and just put that in. And this lanyard right here is just long enough to barely peep over this edge and lock it in tight so I wouldn't lose it. So that's something I'm considering for future modifications. But I guess the Cobra Stitch, yeah, between all that, I think I've covered everything. I did take off the paint of the blade itself. I did not take the paint off this. What happens is when you use this blade, especially when batoning, this blade originally came coated in a black paint, for lack of a better term. It's a very durable thing, but it tended to wear off and it looked really bad, so I just took it off the blade. Now that might not be the best thing, because this is 1095 Crowvan steel and tends to rust. I try to keep it oiled down. You can see there's a little bit of evidence that I guess it's corroded a tiny bit. I've kept it really well, as best as I could. And there's a lot of moisture in South Carolina, so it's hard to keep up with everything. The humidity is like 98% a lot of the time. It's not the funnest. But this knife kind of fits in between this knife, the what do you call it? Bushcraft Brothers Bushcraft knife. This one's even more corrosive, easily corrosive. Now this had a coating on it too. Probably not the best to take it off, but this is a pretty robust knife as well, but it doesn't have as much chopping power. I did put a lanyard on it to see if I could get some more chopping power on it. It does work, but it's not quite as great as this one. It's a real chopper. It's kind of like my mini machete, as I like to call it sometimes. I maintain it with the little kit here. This goes in my bag, my camping bag, and it's actually just a pocket I cut out of some BDUs, or whatever the military calls them, their jackets. And you know, there's a bunch of clothing that was going to go to the thrift, and I was like, well, I might as well use the pouch, and it just got Velcro on both sides, and I just cut it out. It's pretty great. I have several of them, and it stores things pretty well. So this is olive oil stored in a little container, and I just drip the olive oil on the knife. And I always have a rag, cotton rag, and some quadruple aught steel wool, as well as like one of those green, slightly abrasive pads. I'm running blank on what they're called, but use them a lot for dishes and things. So I use that because, I mean, when you're batoning with this, especially in something like pine or something, you get a lot of sap on it. Olive oil kind of tends to break that down, and then you run quadruple aught steel wool, and that'll really clean it off in combination with the olive oil. So it keeps it well maintained. I like to maintain my knife with olive oil as opposed to something like WD-40 or something, because it's food friendly, so I can feel safe around cutting hot dogs or whatever I want with this, and with my food. So that's the way I prefer to do it. I think that's pretty much it. I have a few other methods of maintaining my knife. In terms of sharpening, got a Lansky hockey puck, just a stone. This has just a stone in it. This is I guess a Lansky sharpening rod, and then I've got one of these Smiths. I forget what they're called, but it's more of like a pocket sharpener. I think that might be what it's called. I don't remember quite right, but it's pretty neat. I might put this in my pack sometimes. This Lansky knife sharpener is pretty sharp. I mean, pretty heavy. It's all metal. And of course, this is a stone. It's got fine grit on one side, heavier grit on the other. Highly recommend it. I use this to sharpen much more than just my knives, but like my machete or my axe. Anyway, I guess that's my review of the Becker BK-7. Sorry about the lighting now. The sun's just coming over the horizon. Hope you have a good day.